Oh, it's been such a long time. It's been such a long time. So many things have happened between the last time I was on a live stream and now. It's like crazy. Hey, baby, lay down or stay with mommy. Whichever one. Yeah, come here. Okay. Hello. You got an eye boogie in there. Hello, everyone who is just now joining in. We're just waiting for a few more people to jump on in before we get into today's topic. Now, if you are here for Reiki and Reiki only, I'm so sorry. I'm not doing Reiki just yet on TikTok Live. I'm gonna wait until earliest tomorrow to jump on for some Reiki. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday, latest Thursday. But again, earliest tomorrow, just because I have been recovering and I don't like to give Reiki or have any sort of healing sessions when I'm still not 100%. I like to always be 110% before I give any of you guys Reiki. So in today's live stream, we are going to be doing an energy healing Q&A. So this is going to be a chance for you guys to submit some questions and get them answered. So if you're looking for some advice, some support, or some guidance when it comes to your healing journey, that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So as you guys think about what you want to ask me and what you're looking for guidance on, what you're looking for clarity and focus on, I'm going to divulge in where I have been the past couple weeks. And so obviously you can see like how tan I am now. I did go traveling. So a lot of you know that I typically go to Electric Forest almost every single year. This was going to be, well, it was my third year. It was going to be my second year performing an actual healing workshop. So it winded up not happening. It's like a whole entire thing, which is so crazy. But if you were at Electric Forest, then you know exactly how crazy it was. The first day was pretty much spot on. I did not do early arrival, so I went in on a regular Thursday, which is the first time I've done that. The past 2 years I have done early arrival, so I came in on Tuesday. This time was Thursday. I had trouble getting into the actual event, which was just like such a downer at the time, and I was like filled with anxiety, like, am I not going to be able to like get into the event? And it was like a whole entire thing. So I don't want to like go into details of like why that was such a struggle, but we're just going to fast forward into the part where I winded up getting in and everything was okay. So, which typically in life, everything turns out okay. So I was just really though, I was having a lack of sleep and I just wasn't at like my energetic best. I was like expecting one thing and then to just be like hit with something where I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work out. And if it is going to work out, how do I maneuver what my original plan was to meet, you know, some sort of outcome that's less desirable, but still make it in somehow. Either way, God worked, you know, their magic, the universe worked its magic, and I was able to get into the actual event. So the very first day was super hot. It was really, once I got actually into the forest, it was like everything was so easy. Everything was flowing exactly how it was supposed to. So I was happy for that. During the second day, that's when things started to get a little bit like crazy with the weather over there. And so the weather over there was fine. It was like literally perfect, but I knew that there was like a chance of precipitation. And I had been watching like the weather app the whole entire time to see, okay, like what is the weather going to be? I need to know in advance so I can like prepare myself mentally, emotionally, physically, all of it. And I knew there was going to be a little bit of rain, but I was not expecting for them to like say, go back to your tents and like go back to your campsites and stuff like that. So the second day was also pretty much okay. However, that second day, my friend winded up losing her phone. And so if you guys were part of my free community or my email list, I actually already had that story time over there. So I'm not going to like go into detail about what the story time is. If you want that story time about how my friend lost her phone in a music festival with over 50,000 people attending it, then you can go to Aura House, which is my free community, and you can just go to the link in my bio, scroll down, and it says Aura House, and join that free community. There's tons of content on there from me, and I just, again, posted that story time like not even a couple hours ago, so you guys can also kind of like assess what you would do in that situation and see how everything panned out after that. So that was like a little bit of a shakeup, like another shakeup that the forest had. But then on that third day, that's when the weather started getting really bad, and they actually kicked us out of the festival itself, of the forest itself, back into our campsites or even into our cars, because it was like code red, things aren't looking good or whatever. So at the end of that second night though, so before we get into like the whole we're getting kicked out, it started to rain, and rain heavy. Now, I had my workshop scheduled for that third day, for the Saturday. And so it was like raining the whole entire night. And so I wake up and we're like, oh, this is like really bad. I wonder what's going to happen. The sky is gray. And like we're having to wear ponchos and like my rain boots and like my a little umbrella. And so we're like going there like, okay, I'm ready for the event. Like my hair is done, my makeup's done, my outfit's done. I'm ready to host my event. And as soon as we got there, they were like, yeah, so everyone has to go back into their tents and like stake everything down, make sure that the wind doesn't blow all the canopies away. And yeah, we're going to see if we're going to do your workshop. And I was like, okay, like if we have to wait, then that's fine. But like, of course I was disheartened, but there was nothing I could do. And honestly, with the weather situation, it did look pretty bad. So it's not like I was going to be like, well, screw, safety. Let me do my workshop. That wasn't going to happen. And I wanted to make sure that people were going to attend it. And if people weren't even going to leave their campsites at 10 a.m. on Saturday on the third day of the festival to do some sort of movement workshop, it's just like craziness. So we went back and we waited. And eventually they were like, sorry, but your time slot, like the rain took it, there's nothing we can do, but tomorrow let's see if we can get you into another time slot. And I was like, okay, like how is that gonna work? So what was going to happen, I was actually really excited for it. I was like, oh, this is like why things are changing. This is why things are shifting around. Like I'm actually supposed to be over here doing this, like the universe conspired in a way to make me go into a completely different like area of the camp to perform my workshop. And so what ended up happening was they told me that I would be able to get into a stage at the Good Life. And for those of you, again, who attend the festival, you know what Good Life is. For those of you who have never attended Electric Forest and don't know what the Good Life is, it's like the VIP section. It's like where people can like do more glamping and be a little bit more bougie, and it's like a higher ticket price, and apparently there's a lot of different like luxuries that are there in Good Life. So I was like, okay, like we're gonna drive on a little golf cart and like we're gonna go and do my workshop at the Good Life, and I've never been to the Good Life, so it'd be nice to see what's there. And I was like actually really stoked. And so then that was gonna be the last day. They like pushed me to the next day, and so we're still at the third day though. Okay, so that's what I'm just hearing is gonna happen. So I was like, okay, I have one more day to relax, one more day to like have fun at the festival, and then the next day, last day, like go out with a bang. I'll host my workshop early in the morning. We're gonna be at Good Life. After that, I just do whatever I want to do, and like we're gonna have a really good time for the rest of the entire rest of the festival. So we're still on the third day, and we get into the festival. We have a little bit of a kiki. We're having a good time. And then I'm so ready to watch one of these performances. Now, the third day was stacked, by the way. I think I have to put a lot of emphasis on this. The third day was so completely stacked with everybody I wanted to see. Like the first day was like, all right. The second day was like, okay. But the third and the fourth day of this festival were going to be like top tier, like back to back to back to back to back, like have to leave one of the sets early to go and travel to the next set, to leave that set early to go travel to the next set. Stacked, all right? And so we were attending the very first one of the night that I was like, yes, this is who I want to see. 2 songs into that set, and they're like, due to the weather, you guys have to go. And we're like, no. And so, of course, I'm like, I don't know what this means. Like, how long is the rain going to be? You never know. Like, Mother Nature doing her thing. So it ended up actually being a little bit of fun because, like, just imagine tens of thousands of people trying to exit the same exit. And just, like, we're all in ponchos. We're all getting drenched. Like, we're all in the same situation. So it's just kind of fun to have that sort of community at that time in that sort of way because it's just, like, a bunch of chaos. But we're trying to make it the most fun chaos that's possible. So we leave, we go to the campsite, and at that point, it's like turning into nighttime. Of course, it's like raining a bunch. It's super windy. It's a little bit scary. You see the lightning, the thunder is loud, and like you're in a tent. So it's just like nothing is muffling that noise. And So we waited and waited and waited, and I wind up falling asleep, which actually a lot of people did. It wasn't even just me. I tried to stay up, couldn't stay up, and then they winded up reopening the festival for like, I don't know, another hour, 2 hours, way at the end of the night. Like, it was basically midnight next day. And to where I was like, well, I'm not gonna blame myself too hard for not waking up, because in my mind, I have my event in the morning the next freaking day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, let me sleep, let me be a good girl, let me allow myself some rest on the third day of this festival so that on the fourth day I can host my workshop. I wake up and I text the person who's running the events, and I'm like, hey, like, excited for the stuff today? And then they're like, yes, me too, la la la, meet me at this time over here again. And I was like, okay, I will. And everything was good, everything was great, until it wasn't good, and until it wasn't great. And then the people at the Good Life, that stage, apparently the weather from all the hours before had just been so bad that it wasn't even a good space to be at. And essentially, I believe it was like probably very flooded, or just so incredibly muddy that like no one's gonna want to get out of their camp and attend this event in this kind of environment. So I was disheartened, but at the same time, when you're at that kind of festival and you're camping and so much is going on and you're overstimulated, like, I was exhausted, and I was like really trying to conserve as much energy as I could to be like available and to be the best I could be at that very last day to host that event. But at the end of the day, like, you're still just very tired, and then like you're getting rained on, and like you're trying your best to like stay warm and already sunburnt, you know what I'm saying? So I think that the universe works in mysterious ways. I always do. And I feel like there is something like an opportunity coming for me, or I don't know, whatever it was. Maybe they just wanted me to enjoy the festival and have the festival be the festival experience without me having to work it, because I am someone who works a lot and it's not very easy for me to take vacation sometimes, even though I know that it's necessary and I deserve it and I need it. So maybe this is just the universe's way of saying, hey, don't worry about working, just go and like live your life, do the best that you can with your energy, and like have a good time. And maybe in the future, maybe next year, who knows. But I wasn't able to host my Electric Forest event. Fourth day, right? And then it rains again, of course. It was like, here's the thing. So Michigan weather, you know, is just like very unpredictable. If you guys live in Michigan or have ever been to Michigan, whatever, it is very unpredictable. And like it can say like a 30% chance of rain and like no thunderstorms, and then be just like a freaking huge ass dark cloud storm for like hours, and you just like don't even know when it's gonna stop. So what actually happened on Sunday after my event got canceled is it got really sunny, so sunny, like it was drying up the whole entire campsite, and it was really hot, really sunny, and we're like, yes, let's go. Like, we're just getting prepped and primed, like we're having a good time, we're like, the worst is behind us, having a good time as much as we possibly could, getting ready. And now it feels like day one. Now it feels like the first day of the actual festival, where it was just really hot and everyone's like out and about having a good time, socializing. You hear like all the music and stuff like that. And it was a really good time. We go into the festival. We, you know, experience actually one of like the best sets that there was, I personally think. I mean, there was tons of great sets there, I'm not gonna lie, but there was one which was Gigantic Nightmare. It was a combination of, I forget, Big Gigantic and the Nightmare, I think, are the two DJs that coupled together and then did the Big Gigantic, or Gigantic Nightmare, excuse me. And that was a really good set. That was so good. That was really good. And so I'm just there with my two friends, and we're just like dancing, enjoying ourselves. We're like, finally, like a time where like we're all here, we're all together, we're all having a good time. It's one of the biggest sets. Like, they're doing so good. And so I decide that I'm like, even though this set is really good, I have other things to see. And so I'm trying to like book it to the next concert. And so I left my friends there. We were okay with that. We knew that we were going to separate at some point during the night, and I'm like booking it to like my next set. And so I'm going to the set, and it wasn't as I had expected. And for those of you guys who do a lot of festivals or go to concerts a lot, you know that sometimes you're like looking forward to seeing someone like a DJ, and it's like whatever they're doing on stage, it's just not at all what you're used to hearing like in your car on the way. And sometimes that could be in your favor and benefit, and sometimes that could just not be in your favor and benefit. So this time I went to a DJ, and I was like, ooh, should have stayed at Gigantic Nightmare a little bit, but it's okay. I'm still gonna like rock out and like have fun for a couple minutes, and then just head to the next set that I'm gonna go to. So I'm there, I'm getting like all prepared, like I'm popping gum in my mouth, I'm like hydrating myself, I'm like getting ready, like putting my shoes back on, because I like to walk the festival barefoot and like ground like the majority of the time. So I'm getting my shoes back on, and I'm like, all right, like what set do I need to go to next? I'm like, okay, over there, it's only gonna take me like 5 minutes to walk over there. And then I feel like it was like a movie. I felt one little drop of water hit my head right here. I was like, that's strange. I was like, I didn't see it was gonna rain again on the forecast today. And the second that drop hit and the second that I thought that, they canceled the festival. And they said, because of severe weather, you guys have to all go back to your tents. And I'm like, what is happening? I was like, not again. You know what I'm saying? First of all, not again. Second of all, why is it raining? Third of all, on the last day of the festival, you know what I mean? Like the last day is where you go the absolute hardest no matter what. And then again, everything was stacked. Everything was stacked. It was supposed to be a night where you go from the set to the set to the set to the set to the set, and you don't stop and you don't quit, and you fall asleep the next morning, and you go to sleep until the end of the day the next day, and then you pack up and you go home, and then it's over. And then they kicked us out. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Because then I'm thinking like, oh, we just like removed all the tarps from the last time that it rained because it was so sunny that we needed to expose everything again in the campsite. And now like my two friends are booking it because they're like closer to the campsite. I'm at the farthest end of the whole entire festival, still having to walk all the way. So luckily they re-tarped everything. They're back into the tent, and I'm like coming in 20 minutes later, and I'm like, what the heck is happening? Why are we doing this again? And I was like, okay, let me wait this time. Let me stay up until they announce, okay, like you guys can go back into the festival or whatever. And then they never did. They never said come back. Instead, they said like with deep hearts or something like that, with saddened hearts or heavy hearts, we are not going to reopen the festival. We're no longer hosting the festival or whatever. And we have to cancel early. And like they canceled like 4 or 5 hours early. And so I was like, dang, dude, no way. But technically I was already asleep. I know. I was not supposed to fall asleep again, but I did. It's like, how can you not? Like 4 days of exhaustion, you're barely even sleeping, you're out in the sun all day long, or you're out in the rain all day long. Like, and then when you're at that kind of festival, because there's so much stimulus around you, it's like you either have to keep moving so you can keep moving, or if you sit down and you rest, you're just going to keep resting. It takes a lot longer for you to get up and actually go and do your things and go about your business. So I was like at the peak of my excitement, and then it rained, and then we went back into the campsite, and then I was like, and I tried again to stay up for as long as I possibly could. But then when I woke up the next morning and I looked at my phone, it said that it never reopened anyway, and I was like, well, I guess I didn't miss anything, but that was crazy. And because of all of that, and all of the changing weather, and all of the everything, and then me forgetting to bring my immunity boosters, I got sick. I got a cold, which you guys can probably hear a little bit of. And I've just been resting for the past week. So that's where I've been. That's a little story time for the past 2 weeks. Hopefully you enjoyed that story time. Just so you guys know where I've been, because I know a lot of you guys have been asking, like, when are you going to go on a live again? And, like, all this stuff. And, of course, I know I go on lives very often. So for you guys to have just, like, radio silence for the, like, past 2 weeks, I know it's just like, where the heck is she? And stuff like that. So I appreciate you guys contacting me. I appreciate you guys commenting on my videos, asking me where I've been and, like, when I'm going to go on a live again. The answer is right now. Here I am. So I hope that the past 2 weeks have been really good and juicy for you. I'm not sure if it's as eventful as my past 2 weeks have been. I mean, this last week I've just been like out cold. I'm like, you know what? Can't even look at a work file. Can't even like rarely get out of the house and just allow myself to incubate and stew in my own sickness and allow myself the time to heal and slow down, because that was a big thing. Even though it was only 4 days, it took a lot more to mentally, emotionally, and physically and spiritually prepare for everything, especially because I thought I was hosting a workshop. It took a lot out of me to prepare for that experience, way longer than just the 4 days. And so I feel like the universe is like, you're sick, sit down. And I'm like, Alright, okay, I'll try. I really did try to like feel better earlier, but that's just not how healing works. And as we all know, healing is a process, healing is a journey, and so I'm still here at the very tail end of me being sick, feeling so much better though. And that's why we're here doing this kind of live stream. So thanks for sticking around for the story and sticking here to listen to all of what I have to say. But I felt like you guys needed to know what's been going on for the past 2 weeks. So with that being said, we are going to transition now into the question and answer portion of this live stream. So for those of you who are just tuning in, let me go ahead and introduce myself. Hello, my name is Melody Unique, but I also go by Mystique Awakening here on the internet. I'm an energy healer and a spiritual mentor. And in today's live stream, we are not doing Reiki. We're waiting a little bit later in the week for Reiki until I feel 110% better, so that when I give you that Reiki, that you're feeling very, very good. And I'm, I like to be ethical when I'm healing people, so I don't like to feel any type of way. Even if I'm feeling like really, really sad, I don't like to come on here and give you guys Reiki. So we're going to preserve my energy for that until a later day. But right now, we're going to get into energy healing questions and answers. So I'm actually going to take some time right here to see if you guys have asked me anything already, or just to respond back to some comments that I have been seeing in the chat that I was ignoring for just a quick moment so I can get my story out. But for anyone who is wanting some free advice, free guidance, free support for your healing journey, whether you're going through something health-wise, hello, I'm with you in that one. If you're going through something relationship-wise, if you're going through something in your wealth or career, your finances, your abundance, and something's just not clicking for you, we can discuss all of that right here, right now. So all you have to do is just send me a little comment here in the chat and ask away. If you feel like you don't know exactly what a right question is for you at this time, then just answer my question. What is it that you are really stuck with right now in your healing journey? And so obviously when we're here, we're talking about the energy centers, we're talking about the 7 chakras, we are talking about how things are manifesting in your life or how things are not manifesting in your life. We are talking about how to approach certain situations if you're feeling very confused about it, or maybe you don't know what your own energy feels like. If you're looking to protect your energy, how can you do that in some sort of space where it's very toxic? Maybe you live in a toxic household, maybe you work in a toxic environment. How can you still protect your energy, so on and so forth. So when you also hear other people's questions, you could kind of feel like, you know what, I resonate with that. Let me bounce off of that question, see if there's any more guidance to get out of that. So definitely make sure that you're taking this time now while you have me to communicate with me. I hate having live streams where I feel like I'm talking head, because I feel like the majority of my content is me just like projecting things onto you anyway. So when I'm here on a live stream, I do like that discussion. So even if you do not have a question to ask me at this time, just go ahead and chat with me about something. Give me some updates on your healing journey. Let me know what's been going right for you. Let me know if you attended a live stream, or you're in one of my programs, or I gave you a session or a service earlier on and you've implemented what I've been teaching and you've gotten some sort of progress out of that. I want to hear all of it. And then I also have some sample questions over here to help continue on the conversation, just in case you're like, well, I like to be a bystander, I don't like to communicate over on live streams, maybe I want to just DM you privately. That's fine too. We're still gonna have a lot of content to go over here today. So let me take a sip of water, because I've been talking a lot, and then we're gonna get right into it. I'm just scrolling up here to see some of the comments in the chat so I don't miss anything. Thanks for the love, those of you who are giving some compliments. Appreciate you. Lo is like, I feel like I'm reliving the festival with the story time. Literally, like we all had the same experience. There's like nothing we can do about it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it was what it was, and we had to do what we had to do. But that's the thing about like, well, first of all, any festival, honestly, any experience that you have to be able to like live it all and be accepting of it all in the present moment. And when it comes to music festivals, especially the ones that you're camping at, it's not just about the music. So for anyone who's been really disheartened about Electric Forest and the fact that it got rained out and canceled early, what were you really there for? Were you there for the full experience? Were you there for the people? Were you there for the workshops? Were you there for the yoga? Were you there for, whatever it is that people are doing to express themselves? Are you there for the music? Or are you there for it all? You know what I'm saying? Are you there for yourself? Is there something that you really needed to let go of and the forest helped you do that? Is there something that you needed to realize and the forest helped you do that, whether you knew about it or not? There's a lot of realizations that happen in times like that. And so I'm very, as disheartened as I am about how things kind of went down, I'm equally as happy that I spent it in the way that I did, because I went hard the whole time, no matter what, like staking the tents, like going hard, like just chilling at the campsite, taking a nap, going hard, attending a workshop, going hard. Like, so I felt like I gave it my all, no matter what was happening in the actual festival and how it was getting rained out, like walking away from it being canceled, like going hard, you know what I'm saying? Like making friends along the way. It's very much like that, not only in the festival, but in life as well. Because you just never really know what's going to happen in life, and sometimes things don't come out with like your expected desire. And so it's really important to make sure that you're being as accepting of the present moment as you possibly can. You're being as present as you possibly can, and just enjoying yourself along the way. Any advice on healing from high cortisol? Okay, so now we're getting into some questions. Again, if you guys have any energy healing questions, you're on a healing journey, self-development journey, personal development journey, you are growing, you are evolving, but you have some questions, I'm an energy healer and spiritual mentor here to help you along with that. So go ahead and ask me any questions that you have. So any advice on healing from high cortisol? So high cortisol means high stress. And so what are you doing to relax yourself? What are you doing to decompress that stress, that anxiety, that overwhelm, that burnout from the four main areas? Okay, so the four main areas that make up your energetic body as a whole is your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and your spiritual body. This is something that I touch on a lot in my Beyond Balance program. This is a very easy 4-week, only 30-day program. It's completely self-paced. You literally sign up, you log on, you do week 1, you do week 2, you do week 3, then you do week 4, and you got it nailed. That gives you the foundation and the basics of exactly what we're going to be talking about right here, right now. And in that program, I go over the rules to releasing from all 4 of those bodies. So I'm going to give you the rules to releasing right now. So make sure that you're writing these down and that you know about it, so that you can then implement them. And if you're ready to take it to the next level, then I definitely suggest signing up for that Beyond Balance program, and you can reach that or access that through the link in my bio. But the rules to releasing for every single one of your energy bodies goes as such. Your physical body, it is solidity versus movement. Stagnation versus movement. So the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm, the burnout, that will be stagnant in your body if you are not moving. You have to physically move your body, break apart that stagnant energy in a very physical way in the body. So how can you do this? Many different ways. You can quite simply exercise. You can go and do some rock climbing, you can go and do some swimming, you can go and do some jump rope, you can go in for a little walk, a little jog, you can go and take your dogs out, you can go play with the kids, but have the intention. This is what's the most important part. You can do all those things already. You can exercise every single day, but still have high cortisol. Why is that? Because you have to be doing it with a certain intention, and you have to understand where in your body you're holding on to that stagnant energy. And so you can ask your body, like literally you can ask your body right now, where am I holding the most stress in my body? Where am I holding the most of the stagnant energy that needs to be released in my body? Is it in my head? Is it my neck, my shoulders? Is it my back? Is it my hips? Is it my knees? Is it my wrists? Like, where is it physically in the body? And through your intention and through movement, you're going to work on releasing that. And so yoga is a really good option for you as well. That way you can also incorporate the element of breath work into your practice, because when you have intention and focus on where exactly you're looking to release this stress in your body, and then you pinpoint it, you target it, you take a good inhale in and a great exhale out, you are allowing yourself to intentionally focus in on those areas that need your attention the most, and then do the majority of the work from just that. A lot of it is just the attention and the awareness of it all. And so that is just for the physical body. Now, this is where a lot of people get stuck. Sometimes people are like, okay, well, I have high cortisol levels and then I do a lot of yoga, but nothing is really like happening. I'm not really seeing some improvements past like the 15 minutes that I'm doing the yoga. First option is for you to increase the amount of time, either the duration or the frequency that you are doing that kind of movement practice. And make sure that if you feel that yoga worked for you for 3 months straight and now it's not doing anything for you anymore, switch it up to something else. Switch it up into anything that makes you literally feel free, something that makes you feel like you don't have to think about it so much, something that makes you feel like you're having a lot of fun, because you releasing stress should not be stressful. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of people get caught up in that as well. And so it's very important that you understand that not only are you having the awareness, the intention, you're using the breath work, you're having a movement practice, but you're also switching it up when it needs to be switched up, or you're increasing the duration or the frequency of what it is that you're doing so it can meet the amount of relaxation that you need for the amount of stress that you have. So high stress, high relaxation. It needs to just be that way. And then with that being said, if you're only focusing in on the physical body, but you're not focusing in on releasing or decompressing the stress, the anxiety, and the worry from your emotional body, from your mental body, from your spiritual body, that's where you want to run into some issues as well. So again, you could be exercising all day long, you can having the intention all day long, but still have high cortisol levels. Well, have you tapped into your emotional body? The rule to releasing for the emotional body is solidity versus fluidity. So those emotions, which is just energy in motion, will get solid within your body if you're not allowing them to be fluid within you and to be released. That's where we get stuck in the whole I'm trapping my emotions, I'm running away from my emotions, I'm bottling up my emotions, or I'm not letting myself feel my emotions. You're not fully processing them and filtering them out. So you have to be able to do the ride the wave technique, which is something that I've coined in my business and in that program to help you actually take that emotion, identify it, allow it to reach its peak, and then allow it to settle all the way down to be released and filtered out through your body. Because again, emotion is just energy in motion. It's not meant to be solid within your body. It's meant to come to your awareness, give you some sort of message or lesson, and then leave. But if you're not actively searching or listening to what that message actually is, and you're ignoring or oppressing these emotions, then it's just going to lead for it to be solid within you. And that's where you also come up with a lot of blockages. And in your case, it could result to high stress levels. Same thing goes with the mental body. For the mental body, it's suppression versus expression. Are you suppressing your thoughts? Are you suppressing your opinions? Are you suppressing your beliefs? Or are you expressing yourself creatively? Are you giving yourself outlets to be creative and literally channel all of that stressful energy, all of that anxious energy into something that doesn't require a lot of thought from you? It's like when you are stuck in your mind with a lot of thoughts, and maybe your thoughts are something that are trying to make you aware of that you have high stress. So like when you have high stress within your body, then your mind is coming in with all of these thoughts and all of these projections and all of these beliefs and all of these illusions, and then it's like really messing you up. Sometimes people say, well, I got to think my way out of this. I got to read my way out of this, research my way out of this. I got to look for the next solution. And again, it's all a mental game. Or I just got to scroll on TikTok for a couple hours, then I'll feel better. You're really just numbing yourself. Same thing with television. And sometimes same thing with books as well. So what you have to do is allow yourself to express yourself freely in some sort of way. You can do that with your voice. You can do that through singing. You can do that through dancing. You can do that through writing things down. That's why journaling works for so many people. You can do that through being artistic and creative in some sort of way. So tapping into your inner child can also help you reduce and release that stress. And then lastly, you have the spiritual body. And for the spiritual body, it's all about disconnection versus connection. And so are you feeling super disconnected from your purpose, super disconnected from your passions, super disconnected from your own personal meaning of life? Are you feeling super disconnected from some sort of source, God, higher power, higher level of consciousness, some sort of collective wisdom, your higher self, your spirit guides, your ancestors? If you are not feeling connected to your soul, it's time to connect. And that's what's going to help alleviate a lot of the stress and the pressures. So that was a very quick rundown, but it was a very thorough rundown. And again, if you are someone who's like, wow, that was a lot, but I needed to hear that. I'm so glad I came onto this live stream. What the heck is it that you're selling on this so that I can make sure that I'm implementing this? Again, it's in very easy 30 days, 4 weeks of your time where it's self-paced and all you have to do is sign up and show up. That's literally it. You don't have to wait a certain amount of time. We don't meet one-on-one unless you're just trying to email me. We can comment back and forth to one another. But that is a program where I go over that, and that's just some of it, which is great. So if you already feel like you had a lot of your questions answered with just that explanation, the full Beyond Balance program is so much more, and it also incorporates some distance Reiki healing videos from me to you. That way, not only are you healing yourself from the inside out, but I'm healing you from the outside in as well, so that we can work on it together in that way. So hopefully that had a little light bulb moment for you. That was a really great question. So next question. Where is a good place to get materials to start, like gems and etc.? Okay, so if you're looking to like purchase certain things, of course I'm gonna have to plug me and my Etsy shop, because me and my mom work so hard on this shop, and it's something that is very near and dear to my heart. It's one of the very first things that we ever created when I started my energy healing business about 4 years ago, and it's called Earth Magic Jewels on Etsy. And what's great about that is that I give explanations of all the crystals and what they help do. But not only that, I infuse my own Reiki energy into all of the jewelry and all the crystals that are in that shop, so that not only do you heal from what the crystals are doing, but you're healing from what I'm able to provide you from a Reiki standpoint as well. So if you love binge watching Reiki videos, if you love coming here on my live streams, if you've seen any of the jewelry that I tend to wear on my videos and on my live streams as well, basically 99% of what I wear is from our shop on Etsy called Earth Magic Jewels, and that's a great place to go for your gems. Now, if you have a local metaphysical shop around you, that's a great place to look as well. Just make sure that you know exactly how to cleanse and program and set the intentions for your crystals, because just like we have to cleanse ourselves, gems and crystals have to be cleansed as well. So it's important that not only do you have these crystals, but you know exactly how to use them and what to do with them if you feel like the power or the effectiveness is not working as much. Okay, let me see what other questions we have at this time. Very, very welcome. Very welcome. Okay, we have about 61 of you on here, so I want to hear what your questions are. What are your questions when it comes to your healing process, your healing journey? What is it that you've tried so far and maybe didn't work for you? What is it that you've tried and has worked for you? Have you been on some of my live streams, implemented what I've had to offer you, and then gotten some sort of progress or benefit out of it? I want to know, I want to hear. Let's go ahead and share some of those things right now in the comment section. This is literally free advice and free support that I'm giving to you, and I go in depth. So that's what we're doing here right now on this live stream. In the meantime, I do have some questions over here as well that I'm going to answer for you guys too, just to kind of get those gears going. If you're a little bit camera shy, you don't know what to ask me, then let's go ahead and get into some questions that I have right here. So one second. Okay, so here's a question about the fear of the unknown. So this is for people who are new to energy healing and are feeling a little bit unsure about what to expect. So in order for me to explain this the best for you, we're going to have to go very, very simple, almost ABC spirituality a little bit. And this reminds me too of when I was at Electric Forest. I made friends with our camp neighbors. So the people who were tenting right next to us, they had no idea what energy healing or energy cleansing or their own energy even was. Like, they did not know what energy centers were. They did not know what chakras were, like any of it. And it has been a very, very long time that I've been in a space where someone knows absolutely nothing about energy. And I found myself explaining this to them in a way that I'm like, oh my God, like, I feel like an alien. I feel like I'm talking to them and I know what I'm saying, but like for someone with newbie ears, they may not know what the heck I'm talking about, and they're just nodding and smiling. And I totally felt that moment. And even though I've been in this business for over 4 years, it's still surprising to me, I guess, because I've been in it for so long, that there are some people who really just like have no idea that they have energy to begin with. And so let's start there. You have energy. And everything that we see in this physical, tangible reality is also energy. So back to science class, energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be transmuted and alchemized, which means that we can turn one thing into another thing. And so essentially, when we're talking about energy healing, we're primarily taking your pain, we're taking your suffering, we're taking your negativity, we're taking your illness, your sickness, your disease, and we are altering it energetically into something that is better for you. So something that is more positive. So a lot of times we take something like a sore throat and then we energy heal that, and then we turn it into healing energy so that you're feeling a lot more peaceful, you're feeling a lot more calm, you're feeling a lot more healthy, you're feeling a lot more rejuvenated, you're feeling a lot more energized. There are numerous benefits to energy healing. So with that being said, we do have different energy centers, and this is also scientific. It's not necessarily belief-based. So with these energy centers, we produce different frequencies. So you probably have heard of frequencies or vibrations, and what we emit through those energy centers is what we get back. So a lot of you who have heard of law of attraction, this is exactly what we're talking about. So if your energy centers are blocked, if your energy centers are overactive or underactive, it's going to emit a certain frequency and possibly be not for your benefit. So for instance, we have an energy center in the heart space. And if that heart space is blocked and you're looking for love, you're looking for the love of your life, you want a wife, you want a husband, you want a spouse, but your heart is blocked, the frequency that you are emitting is going to be that of maybe you don't love yourself enough, or you don't think that you're good enough, or maybe you are just closed off to love, even though your brain wants it and there's some desire there. If love were to come to you, you might be closed off to it. So you, in essence, would be emotionally unavailable. So if you are coming from an emotionally unavailable space, that frequency is going to try and connect to something that is similar to that. So then you may find yourself in a repeated cycle of always attracting people who are also emotionally unavailable. Even if their mind says, yes, I want this person, their hearts could say something completely different. And so there's a lot of different nuances to when it comes to energy healing. But the biggest takeaway that I can say for you is that healing is something that your body does naturally and organically. When you are working with a practitioner, it's not necessarily the practitioner who's putting you in a very good space and who's healing you and doing all the healing work. It is the practitioner who is relaxing you enough and calming you enough for your body to then react and naturally and organically heal and recalibrate what needs to be recalibrated. It needs to release what needs to be released. That's why when you go through energy healing sessions, you feel like laughing, you feel like crying, you feel like yawning, you feel like burping, you feel like your stomach is doing a little weird thing, you feel like you have butterflies, you feel like you have tingles. The energy is expelling itself, right? And that energy that is expelling itself is that energy of the stress, the anxiety, the burnout, the illness, the sickness, the disease, so that your body has the actual chance to not only throw away the waste, right? Just like when you use the bathroom or when you're throwing up, it is taking away the waste from the body so that it can naturally get back to a state of peace, harmony, and balance. So in a nutshell, that is what energy healing does. Now, for those of you who are like, whoa, that sounds amazing, how can I try energy healing from you? That's when you can go to the link in my bio. I do have mini Reiki sessions, which are about 5 to 10, but typically 10 minutes long, where I tap into your energy. I see what's going on in your energy centers, so your root, sacral, solar plexus, heart space, throat, third eye, and crown. I let you know exactly what I find, and then I do a quick little healing session for you to just try it out, okay? That's a mini Reiki healing session. If you are looking for more of an advanced one-on-one session, that's where it's 60 minutes long. We meet on Zoom, we have a consultation, we talk about what's going on with your life, what's going on in your health, what's going on in your wealth, what's going on in your relationships. Those are the 3 biggest factors that keep people staying up at night, right? Those are the big 3 factors that make people stressed out or make people very happy. And so we'll talk about those topics. We'll see what's going on for you, whatever your area of concern is. I will see energetically what's going on within you, heal those things that are going on within you, start the healing process, and then give you the resources to maintain that healing. Because something, again, that I need to mention for those of you guys who are just hearing about energy healing for the first time, is that it's not a one size fits all pill as well. There are going to be some healing modalities that work for you better than others, and that is fine. But I need you to know that you can't just expect to have one session and be healed and fixed forever. That's not what we do here. What we do here is get you into a pattern and a habit of relaxing yourself, right? So that you can then feel fully rested, so that your body can naturally heal. And then we maintain that through different techniques and different practices, literally forever. Literally forever. You're going to be washing your body for all the next, however many days that you are alive. Same thing with you brushing your teeth for however many days it is that you are alive. So the same thing goes with your energy. You have to be able to cleanse that energy as well for every single day that it is that you are alive, so that you are feeling your absolute best. If you are feeling that there's pressure on you every single day, you're feeling that every single time you go to work, nothing's ever quite right, like your boss, you feel like they don't like you, or you can never get that raise or that promotion, you feel like all these manifestations and your hopes, your dreams and desires can never come to you, or it's just a really hard struggle or battle even to have those desires be met by you. Maybe you're always running into the same unhealthy or toxic patterns in your love life. All of that comes down to energy. I don't care what area of concern it is that you have. You can tell me everything that's going on with you under the sun, and my answer is going to be the same. Something is energetically out of balance within you, and it's time to start the process of healing that, of cleansing that, of alchemizing that, so that you're getting into a state where you are in harmony with yourself and in harmony with everything and everyone else around you. So that is what to expect if you are maybe a beginner in your energy healing journey and you are kind of curious about dipping your toes into actually getting a session. I like the way you do the healing with your hands and music. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you're here. All right, moving on to the next question. So this is for those of you who are having thoughts or fear of not being able to heal. So for those of you guys who have been on a healing journey and whatever you've been doing seems like it has not been working so far. So you've done the therapy, maybe you've done the yoga, maybe you've even done the meditation, maybe you've even hired a few coaches or mentors before, but at the end of the day, you don't feel like anything's really working for you. I would definitely say that it's time to, it depends. It depends on what those symptoms are. It depends on what it is that you are actually experiencing. I would take it from there. At least if you're asking me, I would take it from there. So what is it that you are experiencing? And then I would say, how does that translate back to your energy centers? Okay, so again, let's say that you are having a lot of issues with your finances. Like you are living paycheck to paycheck, which a lot of people are. But you're living paycheck to paycheck. You can never break through to, allowing yourself to get into like a savings account. You can never break through to getting a certain dollar amount per hour. Maybe it's hard for you to even find a job at this time. And you see yourself repeating that cycle over and over and over again. If you were to relate that back to your energy centers, there's probably something going on in the root chakra. There's probably something going on in the solar plexus chakra. There's probably something going on in the heart chakra. I would say those for just like a general analysis. From there, the next thing would be, how can I release the pent-up energy that is stagnant in those chakras that are not allowing my divine energy to flow naturally, right? So we have this energy that's always flowing throughout us, but if we have energy centers that are blocked, if we have energy centers that are moving too fast, if we have energy centers that are moving too slow, not allowing enough energy to come through, that poses as an imbalance. So how can I release the emotions, the energy that is pent up in those areas so that the divine energy that is coming through me can come through how it was intended to come through? right? That is how you're going to allow yourself to heal in a way where you can conceptualize what's actually going on in the healing journey, but also have a game plan moving forward. At the end of the day, at least if you're asking me, it's always going to come back to your energy centers. So that's where I would start you off at. If you've been meditating and all you've heard is, okay, close your eyes, be silent, and just like think or observe your thoughts, and you're doing that day in, day out, day in, day out, but something's still not really connecting, something's still not really posing as like a light bulb moment for you, sometimes it does take you asking for help. Sometimes it does take you asking the right person for help as well. So that's why we always say it's a healing process. It's a healing journey. I lived my healing journey for the first year and a half without having any sort of mentor, oftentimes being confused about what the heck was going on with me and if I'm actually healing or if I'm bypassing my healing with toxic positivity and stuff like that. So sometimes it does take you resonating with someone to where you feel like, okay, I believe this person can help me because I know I'm ready to help myself, right? So if you feel like you have been going to these mentors, these coaches, if you've been doing the meditations, if you've been taking the classes and nothing's really been working, ask yourself, are you actually really committed to your healing journey as much as you say you are, as much as you think you are? Are your actions aligning to what your desires are? Are your words aligning to what your thoughts are, or even vice versa? Because sometimes too, you can say that you want to heal, you want to heal, you want to heal, you want to heal, you want to heal. You're going through all these mentorship programs, these coaches, you're burning through the meditations, the guided ones on YouTube, nothing's working for you because what's really happening is that you have a fear of letting go of the trauma that makes you who you are. So that's why you have to ask yourself, am I actually ready to heal? Am I willing to go through this process? Because you being ready and willing to heal on a deep level where it's going to have long-lasting benefits, where you are going to feel like a different person coming out of it, actually means that you have to let go of the former versions of yourself that got you to this place. And sometimes you don't want to let go of that person. Sometimes that person who got you to this place has just been running on survival mode for straight up years and has no idea who they are if they're not surviving, but has a desire to thrive instead of just survive. Okay? So really, if you're stuck in that trap where you're like, I want to heal, but nothing's working, you have to ask yourself, are you going about it in the right way? Are you going back to your energy centers? Do you actually really want to heal? And are you ready and willing to let go of some of those aspects, some of those traits, some of those skills or thoughts, the mindsets that you've built that has gotten you this far? Are you ready to sacrifice that for a new open door that will take you into a different way of being? Because something in healing is that you cannot take a lot of your baggage with you. You really cannot. If you're trying to upgrade your life in a certain way, you cannot take a lot of that baggage with you. So you have to be very, very honest with yourself at the end of the day. Because sometimes too, there is going to be people who pay thousands of dollars for programs and it did not help them. And sometimes it's nuanced, but primarily it's one of two things. Either that was not the right person for you, the right program for you, and there was some sort of miscommunication on the delivery of what the outcome was actually going to be. Maybe they weren't able to provide you that certain outcome, even though they promised it. That's a marketing issue, right? Or you actually weren't ready, so you didn't implement things the way that you should have. You didn't take on certain activities or practices, or you weren't consistent enough because you didn't believe in yourself. Because there was that part of you, that ego part of you, that fear part of you was so loud, and you decided to listen to that part rather than the part of you that loves yourself. Okay? So it can get very nuanced, but that's what I would say for those people who are having a fear of not healing. Any of this resonate with anyone? We have 63 of you guys on here, and we have no one commenting in the chat. So either you really love hearing my sick voice right now, and you're just absorbing, that's fine. But if there's something that is actually making you feel a little bit more aware, if there's something that is resonating with you, share that with me. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Or if you've ever been in that situation yourself before too. Hi, baby. That's a big stretch. Come on, my love. How you doing? Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. frustration with slow progress. This hits. Because sometimes in the spiritual community, we talk about quantum growth and quantum leaping and quantum jumping. And sometimes when you're in the beginning of that journey, sometimes when you're in the beginning of that journey, you're like, oh my God, I could just change my life from one second to another by just closing my eyes and believing it. Like literally, it can happen, but if you're coming at it with like it needs to happen, it doesn't happen. So there are, what's the word? Concepts that are out there that are very true because metaphysics is real. But if you're coming at that kind of notion with it needs to happen, I need to change my whole entire life, I've been suffering, I'm ready to let go of this pain, I just want to manifest my way out of this, and like I'm gonna go to sleep, and by tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm just gonna be in a whole different reality, and maybe I'll meditate a couple times, and maybe I'll journal, and like my whole new reality is just gonna change like right here, right now. So excited about it. There's something a little bit toxic with that. There's something a little bit toxic with that if you are not understanding that this is a process that takes time. If you are someone who is impatient, that's never going to work for you. If you're someone who's impatient going at manifestation in that way or healing in that way, you're just going to be met with a lot more of time, a lot more of slow progress, a lot more of the uphill battle. Healing is about surrendering. It's about accepting. It's about letting go. And sometimes when people are experiencing a lot of slow progress, it's because they are unwilling to do those things. They're unwilling to be patient. They're unwilling to let go. They're unwilling to accept the trauma that has happened to them. And they just want to scapegoat or bypass and go into the next thing right away. But if you want to skip, hop, and jump into a new reality, like we said, with all that baggage that you're holding on to, it's never going to happen. That's because you're not in energetic alignment to what it is that you're trying to actually manifest. So if you want a life of peace and calm, and you've been operating under stress and anxiety and burnout and overwhelm for the past 20-something, 30-something, 40-something years, you cannot just go to sleep one day or have one guided meditation and think that you're going to wake up out of it and that everything's going to be different. Because you have to actually slow down the momentum of what has already been conditioned, dismantle what has been conditioned that you see is no longer serving you, which can either take your awareness and your direct intention or environmental circumstances or / the universe doing things for you, switching things up on you, things coming out of left field, you losing a lot of things, and you like, what the heck is going on with my life? Why are there so many changes? Sometimes it takes all of that for you to dismantle what has been conditioned. And then we have to reprogram and re-identify with a new way of being that actually aligns with the energy of the peace, the calm, and the balance. So if you find yourself getting frustrated with how slow your healing journey is going, oftentimes you're resisting the healing process altogether. Not all healing is fast. Not all healing is slow. There's going to be fast moments, slow moments. It comes in waves. You have to accept every single part of it, knowing that you are still different from the day before. You are still different today than you were 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, right? Time for us, at least, is still very linear, but the healing process is not. It's not. You can feel like you're having the best relationships like forever. You have excellent communication. And so you go to that one family reunion with that one uncle you haven't seen in 12 years that triggers the hell out of you. And then you feel like you're right back to square one. Healing is not linear. And you have to be accepting of that. And you have to understand that some of the times when you feel like you've healed from something, the trigger comes up again and you have to re-alchemize it. You have to re-heal it. And it doesn't mean that you're not healed. Could mean that. But it really primarily means that the universe is trying to test your resolve to live in the energy of love and growth and expansion, or test your resolve to live in the fear and the old conditioning and the old programs and the old belief systems. If you will, it's like the universe is saying, do you really want this or do you really want this? Do you really want this or do you really want this? And it plays that game with you all the time. And you can either love to play the game, and then when you love to play the game and you find yourself getting a little bit more momentum, that's when you feel that your healing journey is going faster. or you can hate to play the game and then resent it the whole entire time and find yourself resisting a lot of your own healing. And then it's going to feel a lot slower. It's going to feel a lot slower. So, great question. We're going to go into the next one. Let's see what else we have. This is a big one. This is a big one that comes up a lot of the time. This one's for those of you who have a fear of emotional release. And that's probably because a lot of different things, but it's probably because you are someone who has lived so many years of your life trying not to feel certain emotions that when you get into the healing process, you get into a session and they do come up, you're like, I'm unfamiliar, I don't know what to do, right? So you get completely confused, you get completely frustrated, you get completely worried and scared about what is actually going to come out and how it's going to come out, that you don't allow it to come out. And it's like the same thing as like feeling constipated, but being afraid to actually release and have a bowel movement. It's the same thing as knowing that you have to throw up because your stomach hurts so freaking bad, but you being concerned with like how it's going to smell on the way out. Like, it's got to come out. Whatever way it does come out, it will. But if you are in that kind of sacred and safe space, like a healing session, your practitioner is already going to know that certain emotions are going to present themselves in different ways, and they're always going to be able to professionally hold that space for you. They know what they're getting into. They know that you have to release garbage. You have to release baggage. You have to release that emotion. And it might look ugly, and that's fine, because a lot of us have seen it all and have been through it all ourselves. That's why we choose that path. Just like if you had a broken bone, but you were afraid to go and like bleed on the nurse who's trying to help you, like, we ready for this. You know what I'm saying? So the energy healers are no different. Those practitioners, we know exactly what we're doing. We know what we're getting into, and we can help you gently release the emotion if you kind of allow us to guide you in that process, so that you don't feel that you are releasing alone or doing it all by yourself, but you feel supported in the process when something heavy comes up and needs to be released. So just know that if you are with a healer at that time, you are in good hands. If you are in an emotional process and you're healing by yourself, give yourself a lot of grace. And the best thing that I can say is, again, to ride the full wave of your emotion when they do come up and you feel confident and secure to release. Like, you feel like you're in a safe space. Now, if you're having a complete knee-jerk reaction in your job, in your career, and you're like, I cannot release, and completely cry right here in front of everyone, that is okay. I know that sometimes you may feel that you want to suppress that emotion at that time, but then what you have to do is remember that as soon as you're out of that space and you're into a safe space, to come back to that emotion, revisit that emotion, and allow it to come out naturally and organically with your permission, with your approval. You have to be able to be the leader in that moment, to guide yourself to go through that emotional release, because if you do not, then again, it becomes solid within that body, in that emotional body. And when that emotion becomes solid, if it gets triggered by something else, like you have kids that are just like really needing your attention that day, but you're just already super hypersensitive and you're overstimulated, they can say one thing or do one thing and trigger that emotion, and now it's coming all out, and it's coming all out on them. And that's what we don't really want or prefer a lot of the times, is that emotional release to be bottled up so much that we are then releasing it to anybody and we don't know how it comes out, and then that's when it becomes a problem, right? Just like how if you're feeling like you need to throw up, don't try to hold it in and then accidentally like throw up on your best friend. Like, handle what you gotta handle in an appropriate time, in an appropriate space. And a lot of the times a healing service or session could be that safe space for you. So just remember that if you're afraid of that emotional release. Also, think of your emotional releasing as like a valve. And so release the tiny emotions that you do have throughout the day as much as you can. That's why when you're in a meditative process, or if you are in a yoga session, or if you're just stretching, or you're having a moment of mindfulness and peacefulness, that you're taking that time to just soothe yourself and allow things to come up when they naturally do. That way you don't have those moments of, oh my gosh, there's so much pressure now, the valve is broken and it's hitting everybody else. You are allowing yourself the actual time, you're creating the space for that to actually happen, so that when emotional releases do happen, like outside of that safe space, it's a lot less than what it would have been, if that makes sense for you. Okay, so we're going to answer one more question, and I think honestly tomorrow's live stream may be the rest of these questions, because these questions are very juicy. And I feel like they're hitting a lot of people where it needs to like be hit and where it needs to resonate. But with that being said, before I get into this last question, are there any other questions that you have for me? I am taking questions from you and you personally. Yes, you on the other side of the screen who's watching me talk right here, right now. You have a chat box. You can go ahead and ask me any question it is that you have right now about your own healing journey, or about even my services and my sessions. I will say that if you have been listening to this entire live stream and you're like, wow, I'm resonating with a lot of what it is that you're saying, and maybe I've had a session from you in the past and it's time for me to get another one. This is just a reminder. Or I've never had a session in the past and I'm really looking to dip my toes into healing energy, then you can go to the link in my bio and sign up for a mini Reiki session. That way I can tap into your energy through my Reiki and through my own intuition and see what's going on with you energetically to help you get to a certain desired outcome, whether that is a manifestation in health, wealth, and relationships, or you're just looking to be more calm and more relaxed and allow yourself to understand what's going on with you personally. With that being said, for those of you who have watched me for a long time, for those of you who are ready for that next step, for a mentor, for a coach, for an actual program that will take you from A to Z, I am going to plug in my Beyond Balance program, which is just a 4-week, 30-day program, self-paced, that allows you to release the stress and the anxiety from all 4 of your energetic bodies: your physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body. That way you can know how to regulate your own nervous system and feel calm, peaceful, and balanced no matter what kind of chaos is thrown at you, whether you're at home, at work, or out in your social life. And again, that is called the Beyond Balance program. It's literally 4 weeks of your time, and you get to choose when you log in and choose when you're doing those modules. But I will say, if you start it, try to be as consistent as you possibly can be. That way you're getting your return on investment as quickly as you need to. But again, healing does not have to be super, super fast. It could be on your own terms. It could be on your own time. And that's exactly why I have this as a self-paced course. And if you like Reiki, there's Reiki in that program too. So Beyond Balance, you can go and sign up right now through the link in my bio. And then we're going to go into the last question of the day. Tiffany, we're not doing any Reiki today because, as you can hear, I'm still recovering from my sickness. So I'm not doing any Reiki and emitting any sort of energy to you guys at this time, but we are doing energy healing questions and answers. So if you have any questions for me, Tiffany, let me know what that is right now so that you can get some free support and advice. Okay, what is my next one? Okay, so this question is for those of you who are frustrated with the lack of consistency in your healing journey. So maybe you're someone who's really busy. Maybe you're a mom and you wear all the hats. You have to go to work, then you have to come home and take care of the babies, and then you have to still have your own time for you and your healing journey. But for some reason, it feels like there is just not enough hours in the day. You can't get to, that desired outcome that you're looking for of just coming back home to yourself, because you have to wear all the hats, do all the things, and be in control of everything that's going on around you, whether, again, that's at home or that's at work. If that is you, raise your hand, by the way, so I can see who are all my hardworking moms who are still trying to balance parenthood, work, and their healing journey. But with that being said, it really comes down to scheduling. It really does. See where you are spending the majority of your time. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an example from someone who I worked with closely in one of my exclusive programs. It was then called Master Your Energy. Now I shifted that more into my program called Unblocked. And in this program, it's one-on-one, it's 3 months together, and every single week we're doing Reiki healing sessions personally. So For this particular client of mine, she was just that. She had kids at home, she worked full time, and she didn't really feel like she had enough hours in the day to take care of her. So I was like, okay, let's see what's really going on, because I know that you have time. It's just maybe like escaping you for some odd reason. So I had her break down every single thing that she does on an average day. So it's like, when do you wake up? And then when do you take care of you? When do you take care of the kids? When do you have to go to work? When's your lunch break? What are the other breaks of your day? When do you get out of work? When do you cook dinner? When do you go and hang out with your friends? When do you go and do this? And when do you go and fall asleep? And after she assessed her like last week, she had an average of like, okay, this is when I wake up and this is what happens when I do this, blah, blah, blah. I had a whole entire format, and I said, wow, you know, and now I know that you take a lot of time right before you go to bed to just binge TikTok. Because that's what I saw. It was like 3-4 hours, end of the day. This is the only time that I have for me. The kids are in bed, and I just like take a shower. Maybe I do skincare if I remember. And I just go, I binge watch TikTok. I stay mindless for a couple hours until I go to sleep. And sometimes I go to sleep really, 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 really late, even though I have to wake up really, 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 really early. So I said, okay, this lack of consistency with the time that you're actually going to sleep and the time that you're actually waking up, first of all, your sleep schedule needs to already be set, because when you have sleep that is set, that's just going to prepare you for the next day altogether. So we want to make sure that you're already waking up as rested as you possibly can be. So we have to probably have a certain time frame where you're actually going to bed, or at least an hour window of like, okay, maybe I'll go to bed anywhere between 9 and 10 o'clock. Like, that's it though. We have to have that. And then let's see if we can at least take, and I tried to be as, what's the word that I'm looking for? Realistic, I guess, as possible. If you're taking 4 hours of a TikTok binge, let's just take away one of those hours for some actual self-care and some healing practices. So I'm letting you have 3 hours of TikTok binging. If you could just sacrifice one of those TikTok binging hours for self-care, for some energy healing techniques, for some energy cleansing techniques, for you tapping back home into yourself and getting a sense of self again and what it is that you like to do, maybe having some time to create or express yourself or cry or whatever the hell it is that you have to do, like at least have 1 hour. And then after 1 week of you just taking 1 hour for yourself every single day, see if we can bump that up another 30 minutes, maybe another hour if you can. Because technically, I asked, I was like, why is it that you're binge watching TikTok for this amount of time? And she's like, well, that's the only time I have to myself. And then when I get scrolling, I get into a hypnosis state. And then when I'm in a hypnosis state, that's all I want to do. And it feels good, but at the same time, it doesn't make me feel good. I was like, I understand. And I said, if you can trade some of that time for something that actually will make you feel good, you're actually going to condition yourself to do more of that self-care, to spend more time with yourself, to heal yourself for longer. And it's going to benefit you more the next day. And then that momentum is going to accrue over and over and over again to where you're feeling a lot better in your energy levels every single day after that, as long as you're being consistent with it, right? So now we're back to the actual question, which is consistency. So with that being said, that is just an example of how you can actually take a look at your own schedule and say, okay, what part of my day am I actually spending a lot of time on this one thing that's really not even serving my long-term goals? And how can I just take a little bit of that time and trade it in for something that is going to align me with my long-term goals? I did this with her, and I do this with every other person that is in my program, even the people who are outside of my program and in my free community. For those of you guys who were in Aura House before it was Aura House and it was called Inner Harmony back like in last November, I was doing this with all of you in that free community, and so many good reports came back saying like, wow, now I actually feel like myself again. Now I like know the feeling I was seeking from TikTok or binge watching television, and I was still not getting it from there. Now I can get it, and I'm feeling like I have more, maybe not control over my life in a sense, but like almost in a sense, like I have more control over my energy levels. I have more control over my sleep. I have more control over my emotions. And it's not even that it's like more control, it's that you're just managing them better so that you can balance them better. And so for you, if you're having issues with consistency in your healing journey, it really just does take you committing to that time to just like 1 hour if you can. If 1 hour is too much, try 30 minutes every single day for a week and see how much more you can build on top of that, until you get to a point where you're feeling really good about what you have developed. But sometimes it's just baby steps. So a lot of times you can't just like run right into you healing yourself for 2 hours every single day, because it's like, well, if I had 2 hours every single day to do that, I'd be doing it. No, it's not true. You have to condition yourself into actually feeling the benefits of it first, just like working out or just like eating healthy. You can't expect yourself from one day to the next eat all these healthy things if you've just not been living that way for a long time. You have to slowly work it into your meals, and then eventually you're going to start to see those benefits of it from doing it so consistently. So the same thing happens here with your healing journey, okay? So with that being said, I'm doing one last plug-in for those of you guys who have listened to this whole entire live stream. Thank you so much. For those of you who have been here the whole entire time, give me a little whoop whoop or a hands up in the comment section if you've been here since we just started the live stream. And if you guys have just tuned in, this is the end of the show. So I love you guys very much. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope that these questions gave you some sort of eye-opening moment or realization or some clarity on your own healing journey, and maybe just some confidence and some hope and a little bit of faith that things are going to get better for you as long as you are paying attention to the things that are actually going to serve you the best. And if you're looking to work with me one-on-one, all of that information can be accessible at the link in my bio. You can do a mini Reiki session, or you can also just sign up for one of my programs. And today we're talking a lot about the Beyond Balance program. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to talk a lot more about the Unblocked program that I have, which is the more advanced program where we get to work with each other one-on-one exclusively for the next 3 months to get you on a better track in terms of you having a healthier and more positive relationship to yourself and then others. So, love you guys very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.